Krishnam Vande Nandakamaram Radha Vallabha Navanita Choram Muralidhara Sukumara Shariram Muralidhara Sukumara Shariram Gopi Vallabha Nanda Kishoram Gopi Vallabha Nanda Kishoram Ramam Vande Dasharathatanyam Sita Vallabha Raghukula Tilakam Ramam Vande Dasharathatanyam Sita Vallabha Raghukula Tilakam Kaushalya Sutta Lakshmana Bharatam Kaushalya Sutta Lakshmana Bharatam Hanumata Pranam Kodandaram Hanumata Pranam Kodandaram Krishnam Vande Nanda Kumaram Radha Vallabha Navanita Choram Muralidhara Sukumara Shariram Muralidhara Sukumara Shariram Gopi Vallabha Nanda Kishoram Gopi Vallabha Nanda Kishoram Ramam Vande Dasharathatanyam Sita Vallabha Raghukula Tilakam Ramam Vande Dasharathatanyam Sita Vallabha Raghukula Tilakam Kaushalya Sutta Lakshmana Bharatam Kaushalya Sutta Lakshmana Bharatam Hanumata Pranam Kodandaramam Hanumata Pranam Kodandaramam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai Jagannath Badev Subhadra Mai ki jai Narsimha Bhagavan ki jai Panchatattva ki jai Giri Govardhan ki jai Shad Goswami ki jai Guru Parampara ki jai Gurudev ki jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai Tagore ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta Prayasha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing Ram Katha, right? So one verse from chapter 9, where Lord Ramchandra's pastimes have been discussed. So this is from 9th chapter. I'll just share the screen. 9th canto, 10th chapter. The verse number is 53. Nadi vyadhi jara glani dukkha shoka bhaya klamaha mrityushchani chitam nasid Rame rajanya dokshaje. Nadi vyadhi jara glani dukkha shoka bhaya klamaha mrityushchani chatam nasid Rame rajanya dokshaje. Nadi vyadhi jara glani dukkha shoka bhaya klamaha mrityushchani chatam nasid Rame rajanya dokshaje. Any Prabhu Mataji want to recite this verse? Please go ahead.
Nadi vyadi jara glani dukkha shoka bhaya klamaha mrityuscha nichyatam nasit Rame rajani adokshaje.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, now go to the synonyms, word to word meaning. Na, not. Adi, Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Devika sufferings. That is, sufferings from the body and mind, from other living entities, and from nature. Vyadhi, diseases. Jara, old age. Glani, bereavement. Dukkha, grief. Shoka, lamentation. Bhaya, fear. Klamaha, and fatigue. Mrityuhu, death. Cha, also. Anichatam, of those who did not like it. Na asit, there was not. Rame, during the rule of Lord Ramchandra. Rajani, because of his being the king. Adokshaje, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond this material world. Translation purpose, please hear the translation and purport. When Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. Purport. All these facilities existed because of Lord Ramchandra's presence as the king of the entire world. A similar situation could be introduced immediately, even in this age called Kali, the worst of all ages. It is said, Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatara. Krishna descends in this Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. If we chant offenselessly, Rama and Krishna are still present in this age. The kingdom of Rama was immensely popular and beneficial, and the spreading of this Hare Krishna movement can immediately introduce a similar situation even in this Kali Yuga. Jai, Srila Prabhupada's transcendental purport ki Jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Subhadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagara Jatam Sahagana Raghunathamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nanta Pravisham Vachimam Prasuptam Sanjeevayate Prashakti Sudamnam Nanyam Sahasta Charashavatvadi Prana Nama Bhagavate Purushaya Tutyam Namo Vishnu 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 Namo Vishnu Vishnu Namo Vishnu Vishnu Vishnu. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji, thank you very much for joining and keeping up the appointment with Krishna. It's very auspicious to hear Bhagavatam. So we have been hearing Krishna Katha all through, and now because Ram Nam is nearing, today we'll be hearing Ram Katha. See, Lord Ram, everybody of course, many people, but it's always here nice to hear Krishna's pastimes and Lord Ram's pastimes. It is so beautiful, no? It purifies. So Lord Ram, as the bridge was being, because when Ravana had already kidnapped Sita, no? So Lord Ram had to save her. So Lord Ram, he took the help of monkeys to fight. So without monkeys or without anything also, see, Lord Ram could have crushed Ravana, correct? But because he was in the human form, he was very careful to behave as a human form, human body. And eventually he wanted to cross over, correct? So what did he do? Lord Ram, he ordered Hanuman. The Lord Ram was thinking that tomorrow the bridge might be ready. So who has the capacity to build within one night? So he called Hanuman, you come here. Then Hanuman immediately, Maharaj, what can I do, Bhagavan? Tomorrow this bridge must be ready. Hanuman knew when Ram orders to do something, he gives the capacity also. So within no time, the bridge was ready. What a wonderful thing to understand, right? Hanuman, so that's a devotee. You just follow the instructions of the spiritual master. That means the instruction given by a spiritual master to you means he will give you the strength. And he knows that you can do it. And he gives the capacity, right? So what did Hanuman start doing? Big stone. Huh? He used to bring big stones, big mountains, and he used to write Lord Ram's name on it and throw it into the water. And what normally heavy stone means, it has to so heavy, you know, what it does go down, right? But no, they were floating on the water. Lord Ramchandra was standing by his side, and he sees that is wonderfully writing my name and the stones are floating. So he thought, I will also try. So Lord Ram, he took a big stone and he threw inside. What did it happen? The stone went down. Then Lord Ram thought, oh, something is wrong. And again, he took another stone and threw again into the ocean. Again, it went down. He said, what is happening? So Hanuman was watching it. So he said, Bhagavan, what are you doing? And since Lord Ram was not successful, he cannot tell anything, no? So Hanuman said, I know, Bhagavan, what are you doing? And you should know that this stone, see, I bring this stone and write your name. So the stone has your association. So name is not different from Lord Ram. So the stone has your association, and that is why the stone can float. And Hanuman was telling to Lord Ram, when you throw, that means when you reject, then what is the chance of that stone to survive? So it is bound to go down. So the practical lesson is, do anything and everything, but perform your karma in this way that Lord Ram should not reject you. As soon Lord Ram rejects, there is no way we can be happy in this world. We have to go to the hellish planets and suffer there eternally. So this is how the ideas and the karmas, they go hand in hand. So first, mind should be completely purified. And then our intelligence also should be thoroughly purified. And it can only be purified with the touch of Lord Ram's names. Otherwise, it is impossible. As soon as you stop taking association from Lord Ram, you're going to lose. You'll always be contaminated in your consciousness. And also by the three modes of material nature. So Lord Ram comes. As soon as you remember him, immediately he will come. He will be here. And that's why some or the other, our traditions are there in our houses, right? We have so many pictures. There will be pictures of Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, so that always we see the picture and unknowingly we are getting purified. And Prabhupada has given us the king process, that you please get up early in the morning according to your work. You should decide yourself. But ideally, Brahma Muhurta starts from 4:30 around AM. So we should be ready before 4:30 to perform Mangalarti. And this is very easy once you get used to it. Then because you want to get up early in the morning, so you will take rest early at night. Correct? Otherwise, we live around and we do things and we can never progress spiritually. We may try to show we are preparing. I mean, we are progressing also, right? We may try a show. But as soon as Mangalarti is not there, we are contaminated. And this is the protective cover, kavacha. Always it will protect you throughout the day. That's why Srila Prabhupada very nicely said that give me out of the 24 hours, you give me 2 hours. And those 2 hours sadhana will protect you the whole day. And Prabhupada is very correct, right? Each person can relate by his own experiences. There is one beautiful shloka which you must recite loudly, very nice, beautiful shloka. This is in, I think, Sundarkanda, no, right? Where Jambavan, he says, Nanyas praha ragupate hridayasmadhiye satyam vadami cha bhavana kilantaratma bhaktim prayaccha ragupungavanirbharam me kamadidosha haritam kurumanasam cha. Says, I tell the truth, O Lord, O Lord of the Raghus. You very well know that there is no other wish in my heart, since you are the inner soul of everyone. O Chief of the Raghus, grant me absolute religious devotion for you and strip my mind of lust and other vices. Beautiful shloka. So in order to build the bridge across Lanka, Lord Ramchandra reached the beach, right? And he fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. And when the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastime of anger. And simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, they were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramchandra, taking all the paraphernalia to worship him. So falling at the lotus feet of the Lord, the personified ocean spoke in 9, 10, 14. It says, O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of God. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. The word Jadadiya refers to the intelligence like that of an animal. The person with such intelligence like that of an animal cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. So without being beaten, an animal cannot understand the purpose of man. So similarly, those who are dull-minded cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when punished severely by the modes of material nature, they begin to understand him. One poet, he says, when one is distressed, he goes to the church or temple to worship the Lord. But when opulent, he forgets the Lord. Therefore, punishment by the Lord through material nature is necessary in human society. For without it, men forget the supremacy of the Lord due to their dull, blunt intelligence. In one of his lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam in Los Angeles, on July 9th, 1974, 116:19 verse, Prabhupada relates with this quote. He says, the instruction is that when one is distressed, everyone remembers God. Just like during the Second World War in Germany, because the war was going very seriously, there was no men, and so all the women went to churches and prayed to God. Let my father come back, or let my husband come back, or my son. But nobody came back. So what happened? They prayed, and nobody came back. So they became atheist because they prayed so much to get their husband or son or father. then they say there is no God. This is the conclusion. That means God is our order supplier. God is our servant. Just like we ask our servant, you do this, and he must do it. We cannot accept God like that. God is neither going to be our servant. So those who are going to religious life, making God as a servant, they will fail. We must approach God as master, and we should become servant. Das. So see, in this verse, even though the ocean personified was opulent, and when the Lord exhibited anger, he got frightened and surrendered to the Lord when he understood that he is in danger. So it is very realistic for persons, like us, that only in a stage of distress we pray to Krishna for protection, assuming that we would do the Krishna consciousness better if our problems are resolved. But we fail to recognize that Krishna is our master, and our prime duty is to serve Krishna without any expectations. Lack of Krishna consciousness in each and every activity in our life is a real problem. And other problems can automatically be solved if we approach Krishna as our master. So, whether we are opulent or not, we should be very much careful and meditate. Meditate on what? Saying that by the grace of God, I have got this opportunity, and now the opportunity should be utilized to advance in Krishna consciousness, to understand Krishna. And we should engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness simply by thinking of Krishna. See, there's a nice story. A construction supervisor working on the 6th floor of a building, he calls a worker who was working on the ground floor. He's in the 6th floor, the supervisor. Worker is on the ground floor. So he is calling him. But because of the construction noise, the worker doesn't hear his supervisor. So to draw his attention, the supervisor throws a $1 bill at the worker. It falls right in front of him. The worker picks it up, puts it in his pocket, and continues working. So in hope of capturing the worker's attention, the supervisor throws a $10 bill at him. Again, the worker simply picks up the money without looking up, puts it in his pocket, and goes back to work as if nothing happened. Now the supervisor realizes he must do something more drastic to draw the attention of the worker. So he now picks up a small stone, throws it at the worker, and hits him on his helmet. This time the worker looks up, sees the supervisor, and thinks, why did he hit me on the head with a stone? The supervisor tells him he was the one throwing the money in an attempt to get his attention. But since that did not work, he threw a stone. The worker soon realizes that the stone was the only way the supervisor could get his attention. Now the worker and the supervisor finally communicated. So this is often the story of our life. Krishna wants to communicate with us. But when he gives us gifts, we might not notice him as the gift giver. Just like small children, they become absorbed with the gifts and forget to thank the giver of the gifts. So we also forget our Supreme Father. Maybe we think that our life is going on well because we are doing the right things and working hard, or that for some other reason we deserve the gifts we receive. This is what we think. Or maybe we do notice he is giving the gifts, but this often doesn't bring us closer to him. So what happens in this case? Krishna helps us by hitting us with a stone of life's troubles. So this causes us to begin thinking and communicating with the Lord more and more. So such events usually cause us to become more serious about our Krishna consciousness. See, man has made so many technological advancements to conduct his day-to-day activities in a faster and efficient manner, and thereby lead a happier life. So the onus is always on doing things quickly and only aspiring to have some leftover time to relax. So this is indeed the mantra in this technological Rajya, not Rama Rajya, technological Rajya. So in the process of achieving this, what happened? We picked up so many complementary companions, like what? Fear, fatigue, lamentation, diseases, various miseries, premature aging, untimely death. This is the result of this technological Rajya. That's why the verse which we took today, 9:10:53 of Srimad Bhagavatam, describes one of the key features of the governance of Lord Ramchandra. Nadi vyadi jara glani dukkha shoka bhaya klamaha mrityuscha nichatam nasid rame rajanya dokshaje. So when Lord Ramchandra, Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. So it is very interesting to note that all the unwanted companions that man is compromising with today were completely absent during the reign of the Lord Ramchandra. So let us see one by one the words. So what I see. Na is not, and Adi is Adhyatmika, Adibhautik, and Adidevic sufferings. That is, sufferings from the body and mind, from other living entities, and from nature. So in the previous to this verse in the Bhagavatam, it says that Mother Nature was so pleased during Ramarajya that there was an abundance of everything. Unlike today, when rivers are drying up, forests are depleted, produce from the crops and trees are uncertain and inadequate. If one is assured that nature will unconditionally provide everything, the body is automatically assured of good nourishment and the mind is peaceful. If all living entities were peaceful, they would not disturb or trouble one another. And the way to be peaceful and please Mother Nature is by satisfying the Supreme Lord. That is Na and Adi, we saw, no? We have to see Vyadi. Vyadi is diseases and Jara, old age. Nadi, Vyadi, Jara. So these are the attributes of this metal body. See, a lot of people are aware of this, but still feel that they can conquer them with medicines, fashion, dyeing, then plastic surgery. So more money is spent on research to counteract them. But in Ramarajya, all the citizens had a healthy mind and body. Therefore, there were no diseases. People are always at ease. If there are no diseases, it will naturally prevent the aging process. So no one will grow old. Correct. Then comes glani, that is bereavement, dukkha, grief, and shoka, lamentation. So these things, grief, lamentation, these things only makes people lament over things done in the past that could have been avoided. But if the mind and body is healthy and all citizens are following the path of dharma, there is nothing to lament. Then it is bhaya. Bhaya is fear. The element of fear in people, at large, it keeps the insurance companies in business. Whether it is fear of life or fear of burglary, fear of an accident or fear of retrenchment. So no lamentation implies a life that is happy with the recent past and hence no fear for the future. Then it is klamaha. Klamaha means fatigue. If there is no fear, people would not work exceedingly hard, no, and exhaust themselves. See, in those days, everyone was used to a lot of physical activities. And in the course of their day, to day-to-day activities, they were very physically active, right? But today, even a child does not go out to play or do physical work. They would rather play football on the computer than on the field. Still, they are fatigued when it comes to studies. And office goers, they commute in AC cars to their workplace, work in controlled environments, but come home feeling absolutely tired. So in the absence of natural sweating to clean the pores, they have to go for steam baths and saunas. Is this advancement of technology? Mrityu, death. Now, if there is no disease and the body does not get old, the causes for death is also minimized. Hence, Mrityu chana chitam nasi. No one died unless they wanted to. So this was Ramarajya. It was not a utopian concept, no, but a condition in which every citizen followed the scriptural injunctions and as a result conquered even death. Can any ruler or administrator today even dream of facilitating such conditions for their citizens? Even if one were to somehow believe that all this existed then, no one would comprehend that there is any possibility of its relevance today. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada in the purport very nicely says, no, these facilities existed because of Lord Ramchandra's presence as the king of the entire world. That's what we read in the purport just now, no, in this verse. He says, a similar situation could be introduced immediately even in this age of Kali, the worst of all ages. It is said, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatara. Krishna descends in this Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. If we chant offenselessly, Rama and Krishna are still present in this age. Even if one is sinful and cannot give up sinful life immediately, if he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with devotion and faith, he will certainly be freed from all sinful activities. And his life will be successful. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the blessing of Lord Ramchandra, who has appeared in this age of Kali as Lord Gaurasudra. Lord Ramchandra ki jai. Jai Sita Ram. So on this Ram Navami, which is coming shortly, let us meditate how Lord Ram has taught us this important lesson of detachment. When he appeared in this planet as the son of King Dasharatha in the Raghu dynasty. See, King Dasharatha declared that Lord Ram would be his successor and that the coronation ceremony would happen in the following day. But due to the acts of Manthara and Kaikeyi, Lord Ram's coronation did not happen. Instead, he was told to go on exile to the forest for 14 years. See, initially, when it was declared that he should be enthroned as king, and later when it was declared that he need not go to the forest, in both instances, Lord Ram's face was completely aram. Aram. There was no sign of anger or agitation on his face. He had all the rights on Ayodhya. What to speak of Ayodhya is the proprietor of the whole cosmic manifestation. All the ministers and subjects were in favor of him. He could have very well refused his father's orders. And that too, Dasharatha had unwillingly given that order just to keep up his vow to Kaikeyi. But as Maryada Purushottam, to show the world how a son should behave, Lord Ram simply abided by his father's words and went to forest. Obedience is the greatest remembrance of the Lord. He is so merciful that later, when Lord Brahma gives him boons, Lord Ram requests Lord Brahma to arrange for him to meet King Dasharatha. And when he meets Dasharatha, he asks Dasharatha, his father, Dasharatha, to forgive Kaikeyi and Bharat. That is the greatness of Lord Ram. Kripa Sindhu Maryada Purushottam Sri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki jai. What a compassionate, right? So, see, it is insisted that not only in material things, even in spiritual service, we should not become over-attached to any service. Our goal is to please Guru and Krishna and to serve them in the way they want and not according to how we want. See, that means we should not be getting attached. My Guru Maharaj was giving his life and soul in building the magnificent temples in Dwarka and Rajkot, with utmost care and attention. And he lived a very humble bhajan kutir. There he used to stay with minimum sets of clothes and minimum vessels. He used to tell, if tomorrow we are asked to leave this place, we will accept his Krishna's plan and we will simply take our baggage and leave. He did not think, since he had put so much of time, effort and energy to build the temples, he can stay there forever. Nor did he think, what will happen if he's not around? He always used to say that we are not the doers. It is Krishna's temple and he knows how to build it. Our duty is to simply abide by Krishna's plans. If we voluntarily don't give up our attachments, then in the end of life, Krishna will anyway forcefully take them away from us. So better to give up voluntarily and be happy. So this is a very important lesson we should remember, right? Taught by Lord Ram and these such great souls like Guru Prabhupada, and practice the same in our lives. See, Lord Ram's incarnation is famous for his accessibility, and all compassionate nature. He was friendly and amicable to all, in spite of his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the King of Ayodhya in his incarnation. And different people related him in different ways. And all of them were blessed with eternal life in the spiritual world. That's why in Bhagavatam 9:11-22, he says, Lord Ramchandra returned to his abode, to which Bhakti Yogis are promoted. This is the place to which all inhabitants of Ayodhya went after they served the Lord in his manifest pastimes by offering him obeisances, touching his lotus feet, fully observing him as a father-like king, sitting or lying down like equals, or even just accompanying him. Prabhupada in the purport writes all the inhabitants of Ayodhya who saw Lord Ramchandra as citizens, served him as servants, sat and talked with him as friends, or were somehow or the other present during his reign, went back home, back to Godhead. See, there is a very famous mantra of Lord Ram, which explains how different living entities related to him and how the Lord revealed himself according to the relation. It was composed by Vasishta Muni and discussed between Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva in the Padma Purana. Uma Maheshwar Samvada, it is from there. So Mother Parvati Devi keeps chanting this mantra always, even in her sleep. And this makes her very dear to Lord Shiva, who is the topmost Vaishnava. Very nice to recite. Please hear, and maybe you can note down and can recite yourself daily. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Ramaya, for Dasharatha, he is dear Rama. Although he was named Ramachandra, Dasharatha had the privilege of calling him affectionately as Rama. So it shows the closeness in relationship between father and son. Ramabhadraya, for spiritual seekers, Lord Ram is the bestower of the desired benedictions according to their desire. And for his pure devotees, he gives the most auspicious benediction, which is entry into the spiritual world. So the scriptures advise all spiritual seekers to worship Lord Ram, and since he blesses them with auspiciousness according to their approach for them, he is Ramabhadra. Bhadra means auspiciousness. Ramabhadraya. Ramachandraya. For Mother Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and other women, he was Ramachandra because his beauty was pleasing like the moon. The Ramayana states, Lord Ram's face is like that of the moon and very pleasing to those who see him. Then Vedase, for great sages like Jamadagni, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, the Lord revealed himself as the supreme absolute truth. So the ultimate reality. So more than being the son of Dasharatha and Kaushalya, they realized Lord Ramchandra as the creator of everything. Therefore, they address him as Vedase, the omniscient creator. Raghunathaya. According to the subjects of Ayodhya, Rama is an excellent king. So they saw him as the best of kings of Raghu Vamsha. So Raghunatha. Then Nathaya. Natha means husband or master. Mother Sita saw him as her beloved husband and eternal consort. And devotees like Hanumanji, Sugriva, Vibhishana, Jambavan, Guha, they saw him as their eternal master and Lord. Sitaya Pataye. So for the subjects of Mithila, he was consort of their princess Sita. So as we read this verse, we can see that although the Lord is versatile, each one conceives one aspect according to their relationship with the Lord. So thus the Lord possesses multifaceted personality. The important thing is to re-establish our relation with him. And this is possible by pure devotional service without hidden material agendas. See, this great epic, Srimad Ramayana, describing the glories of Lord Ram, was composed by Valmiki Muni. In his early life, Valmiki's name was Ratnakar. He used to rob people for his living and later kill them. By some good fortune, he once met Narada Rishi and tried to attack him. Narada Muni was fearless. With great compassion, he chanted Lord Ram's name and convinced Ratnakar that one has to suffer for whatever sins one commits in life. That even his family members, for whom he was stealing, will not be ready to take the share of the sinful reactions that he has earned by his impure life. So by the touch of a pure devotee, Ratnakar gradually began to understand the importance of chanting Lord's names. See, when one does sinful deeds, it will not be possible even to chant the names of Lord properly. So initially, Ratnakar could not even pronounce Rama. He could only tell Mara, 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 Mara. But as an expert spiritual master, Narada Muni did not give up his efforts in helping Ratnakar. He told him to continue chanting Mara, Mara. So by touch of a pure devotee like Narada Muni, Ratnakar got the taste for chanting Lord's names, and he sat in meditation for many, many years, continuously chanting the names, holy names. So during this time, his body was covered by ants. who ended up building an ant hill around him. But he was so absorbed in chanting Lord's names, he was not disturbed by the ant hill. So many years later, Narada Muni returned. He was surprised to hear the holy names of Rama, Rama coming to him from the ant hill. He immediately realized that it was his dear disciple, Ratnakar. He uncovered the sage from the ant hill, informed him that his meditation was successful, and bestowed on him the name Valmiki, since he was born from an ant hill. Later, Valmiki heard about the glories of Lord Ram from Narada, and Lord Brahmaji instructed him to write the story of Lord Ram in poetry form. So Valmiki Maharshi had taken shelter of Lord Ram's holy names. That's why he could write the epic Ramayana. So in the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 796, Srila Prabhupada mentions how Mahaprabhu loved to chant Lord's names. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Pahimam. That is, O Lord Ram, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. O Krishna, O Keshava, killer of the Keshidaman, please maintain me. So by the transcendental touch of Narada Muni, sage Valmiki's life was completely transformed. Similarly, may we always remain under the shelter of Guru, Prabhupada, Ram, Krishna, and always chant holy names and purify our lives. We always, Rama Katha, Krishna Katha, we should hear, right? Hearing is fine. But how should be hearing? How should be the hearing? We should be attentive and submissive. So we should hear Krishna Katha, Rama Katha attentively and submissively. In Bhagavatam 1:12, Sutta Goswami says, Sadhyo Hridaya Avarudyate Atra Katibhi Shushrushubi Takshanat. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains the proper method for hearing the transcendental message by highlighting the importance of the word Shushrushu. He says, one must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. That is more anxious. I want to hear. The anxiety should be there, not anxious or worried. So one must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. So sincere desire to hear Harikatha is a basic qualification. But unfortunately, our ears are wide open to hear about our own glories or about any breaking news in TV or internet, right? People who are so addicted to weekly serials in TV are so eager to know what happened in the serial. What do they do? No, they call up their friends and relatives to find out what happened because they happen to miss it some week. Some of you even take a recording and see it later on. So one thing we need to learn from these people is that when we miss some Bhagavatam class, we miss serials, right? But when we miss Bhagavatam class, we should also be eager to hear what we missed. But most of the time we inquire about who came to program or what prasadam was served. We fail to realize the importance of Krishna Katha, which is the food for our soul. The sages of Naimisharanya very nicely explained in Bhagavatam 1:13 the importance of why we should hear or speak Krishna Katha. It says, O Sutta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by the previous masters, Acharyas. For one is uplifted both by the speaking them and by hearing them. So in this purport, Prabhupada very beautifully says, the conditions for hearing the transcendental message of the Absolute Truth are set forth herein. The first condition is that the audience must be very sincere and eager to hear. And the speaker must be in the line of disciplic succession from the recognized Acharya. So, for our own purification and upliftment, we should eagerly and attentively hear about the glories of the Lord. So when the Lord went to graze the cows, in Vrindavan, the gopis of Vrindavan spent their time discussing about the Lord and his pastimes. Another important, very interesting thing to understand. See, even Lord himself, Lord Krishna himself in Vrindavan, he listens with rapt attention whenever his pastimes are being discussed. In our case also, when we hear somebody talking about us, our ears will be, oh, what are they talking about me? Correct? So, see, every day, Mother Yashoda would narrate stories to the Lord's pleasure. And Krishna used to be so inquisitive. We were hearing and asking her too many questions. See, at times, Mother Yashoda would also fall asleep before she completes the story. It so happened that Yashoda Ma was narrating the pastime of Lord Ram to Krishna. She was telling Krishna that Lord Ram is the son of Dasharath Maharaj, and he married a beautiful wife called Sita. And due to destiny, they were sent to the forest for 14 years. In the meantime, Ravana kidnapped Sita without knowing the power of Lord Ram. Hence, Lord Ram decided to rescue his wife, and the Vanara Sena served him. See, Krishna was so immersed in this pastime, being narrated by Yashodama, that he would immediately start shouting, Lakshmana, where is my bow? We need to kill Ravana, get our Sita back. Yashodama would not understand why her son is talking differently and feel the Lord is being possessed. And we would immediately hug her little darling, right? So from the above, this pastime, we see how the Lord is totally involved in whatever he does. The devotees of the Lord also exhibit such qualities when they are completely immersed in the transcendental bliss. So this is submissive and attentive hearing, rapt attention. See, my Guru Maharaj used to say, how simply by uttering the word Ram, it will give us so much Vishram, rest and peace. Just by uttering the word Ram, it will give us Vishram, rest and peace. Very nice Hindi wordings are there. He says, he had said, Vish jaise ye duniya mein, विष जैसे ये दुनिया में नहीं है आराम का स्थान, विष के साथ जब राम मिले तो हो जाए विश्राम. विष जैसे ये दुनिया में नहीं है आराम का स्थान, विष के साथ जब राम मिले तो हो जाए विश्राम. In this world which is full of poison, there is no place or time to rest. But if we add Lord Ram's holy names in our life, then we can be completely relaxed. So by the potency of his name, even stones were able to float in the Indian Ocean. So let us all take the shelter of his names so that we don't sink into this ocean of doubts and miseries, but safely float to his abode, back home, back to God. Shri Ramanam Mahotsav ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai, Tagore Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Prabhupada Matajis, for giving this opportunity to glorify Lord Ram.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
It was such nice, and that you ended it with a doha, which was very nice.
Thank you,
I
Prabhupada.
will have to remember that. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
I really like that Krishna,
Yeah.
hearing to his own pastime as Ram.
Yes.
And asking Lakshmana to get his bow. That was like Nityananda Ram going totally unconscious when they were enacting the pastime of Lakshmana being hurt by the Gandhamardhan Parvat coming over. He went unconscious because Hanuman didn't bring Gandhamardhan. So he was totally in that pastime. Similarly, I had never heard this pastime which you share. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing, and thank you for stressing the importance of hearing it properly.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sunita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Anybody has any questions or anything? Yes, Sunita Mataji.
No, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Very blissful class, Prabhu. Rama Katha from Rama Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that was a wonderful link. Yes.
Hare
Rama
Krishna.
Katha from Sri Ramchandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Ramchandra Das Prabhu. I'm not Ramchandra Das. Dasanu Das. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything you want to ask, anything to share more, you can please go ahead. Thank you. So if nothing is there, we can close, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpatarubhij kripa sandubhaya vicha patidanam pavane vivashtu. Hare Krishna. Sunita Mataji, how is Australia?
Australia is fine, Prabhu. Keeping us busy.
Busy. Okay. Nice.
So thank you, Prabhu.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
hear your voice. Prabhu is in there, no? Still gone back. right?
Yeah, he's in Muscat, Prabhu. Yes, trying for a job.
Anyway, Krishna willing, we'll meet somewhere.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. Definitely, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Okay.
Devatinda Prabhu, maybe you can close it.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful Katha today.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Ramchandra. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna.